We've all had those jobs where the boss is a bit of a micromanager, right? Maybe they track your bathroom breaks or send you per my last email at 9 p.m. on a Friday.
Well, imagine your boss isn't just a guy named Gary in HR, but King Leopold II of Belgium. And instead of an office, his business is a 900,000 square mile chunk of land in Central Africa that he owns personally. This wasn't even a Belgian colony at first. It was the Congo Free State, which is the biggest lie in naming history since diet soda. Leopold didn't want to build a country, he wanted to build a bank account. And his product? Rubber. In the late 1800s, the world went rubber mad for bicycle and car tires. To get it, Leopold turned the entire population into a massive, unpaid workforce. If you didn't hit your quota, Gary in HR wasn't going to put you on a performance improvement plan. He was going to send the force publique. Here is where things get truly spooky dooky. The force publique was Leopold's private army of mercenaries. Their job was to enforce rubber quotas by any means necessary. But Leopold was a cheapskate. He was worried his soldiers were wasting expensive ammunition on leisurely hunting instead of suppressing the locals. So he made a rule. For every bullet fired, the soldier had to provide a severed human hand to prove they'd killed a rebel.
Hey, I'm back from the village. I used 20 bullets there.
Great! Where are the 20 hands?
I missed a few shots and used them to hunt a bush pig for dinner.
Well, you better go find some hands, or the captain is going to take your...
This led to a literal hand economy. Villages that couldn't meet their rubber quotas would be raided just to harvest hands so the soldiers could account for their ammo. Sometimes they didn't even kill the people, they just took the hands. Imagine walking through the jungle and seeing baskets of piggies, but for your arms, being delivered to a colonial post like their Uber Eats orders. If the soldiers didn't take your hand, you'd likely meet the shakot. This wasn't just a whip. It was a strip of dried hippopotamus hide, carved into a sharp corkscrew shape. It was designed to literally shred the skin. A standard punishment was 20 lashes. 100 was usually a death sentence. But let's say you're a survivalist. You hide in the deep, uncovered parts of the rainforest. You still have to deal with the hidden boss, the tsetse fly. These things carry African trypanosomiasis, or sleeping sickness. The Ebers Papyrus actually mentions parasitic infections, but the Congo version was a special kind of hell. The parasite crosses the blood-brain barrier and resets your circadian rhythm. You can't sleep at night, you fall into a stupor during the day, you experience extreme psychotic rages, and eventually you slip into a coma and unalive. In some areas of the Congo, this killed up to 50% of the population. Between the whip and the fly, your survival odds are basically zero. You might have seen Apocalypse Now or read Heart of Darkness, but the real-life inspiration was a guy named Leon Rom. He was a Belgian official in the Congo who was, to put it lightly, not okay. Rom lived in a station at Stanley Falls, and according to British explorers, he decorated his flower beds with the severed heads of locals. He also had a gallows permanently set up in front of his office, just to keep the vibes consistent.
Hey Leon, those roses are looking a bit wilted.
You think so? Maybe they need a few more headstones to brighten up the place.
Maybe just some mulch, Leon? Just a thought.
Rom was the embodiment of the state at the time, total unchecked power in a place where no one could hear you scream. He wasn't just a bad boss, he was a horror movie villain who drew a paycheck from the Belgian crown. By the time the international community finally looked at what Leopold was doing, thanks to early investigative journalists like E.D. Morel and Roger Casement, the damage was staggering. It's estimated that between 5 to 10 million people died under Leopold's management. To put that in perspective, that's like the entire population of modern-day Chicago and Los Angeles just vanishing. Leopold made an estimated $1.1 billion in today's money from the Congo, and when he was finally forced to hand it over to the Belgian government, he burned the archives to hide his tracks, saying, "I will give them my Congo, but they have no right to know what I did there." So, next time you're complaining about a long commute or a meeting that could have been an email, just remember, at least your boss isn't asking for a basket of hands to justify his stationery budget. Wild, right? Anyway, stay safe and maybe don't go back in time to 1890. It's a vibe you definitely don't want.